Welcome, everyone. Welcome, Ruth, Kieran, who's both in the room and online at once. Claire, our tutors, workshop hosts today, Wyatt, Levi, and myself, who will disappear and then reappear shortly. I'm going to explain that in a moment. Alexander, Ethan, first timer, welcome. Welcome to our funny little seminar series. So this is the second in our Languages of Anatolia series. May I have the people just as I begin? Wyatt, thank you. So what we're looking at here on the screen share is Wyatt's fantastic document that he's prepared for the first half of our first third of our seminar today. And Wyatt, how do you pronounce that first word there?
Türkçe.
Türkçe. So this is the second seminar in our series of the languages of ancient Anatolia, or as Wyatt's put it on his handout, the languages of Anatolia. And the purpose of this series is to cover all of the various diverse and fascinating languages that have been uttered in the lands of Anatolia since ancient times. Our first seminar was on Phrygian, which was run by myself. This second seminar is headed up by Wyatt, who's doing something really, really crucial, which is sharing the language Türkçe, Turkish, with us today, which you'll go into details about this, but is something that I think is often missed in the sort of linguistic history of Anatolia, that for over 1,000 years now, Turkish-speaking peoples have been in the area. They are the custodians of Anatolia today. And therefore, whenever we study Anatolia, we're doing it with deference to the Turkish people who live and maintain and are the custodians of this wonderful cultural heritage today. So it's extremely important to study Turkish, even though it's not an ancient language. And I think that's something Wyatt is going to sort of share with all of us today, is that not only is Turkish worthwhile studying because of the cultural history of Anatolia, but it's inherently worthwhile studying. It's a fascinating language. Now, there's no need for any prior knowledge to the Turkish component. Today, Wyatt's going to go through all of the basics for everyone to get them caught up. We don't expect members of this series to have a background in Turkish. And that will take us through the first third of the day. Now, before I do hand it on to Wyatt, just a bit of an outline for how the rest of the seminar will work. At 10:30, 10:45-ish, we'll have a brief half-hour break so people can get some coffee, do what they need to do, and then we'll resume, and Wyatt will finish off the Turkish section, and then we'll hand over to a sort of an intermission where we're going to move away from Anatolia for about an hour, maybe a bit longer. And our other speaker today, Levi, correct pronunciation, Levi, will share with us something that isn't necessarily part of this Languages of Anatolia series, but it'll be interesting to anyone who finds ancient languages and linguistics interesting.
One of the languages is, of course, spoken in Anatolia and still spoken in Turkey today.
Yes, of course. Yes, so there is a connection there, which you'll share with us. I'll reveal what that is. Maybe I'll let Levi reveal what that is when.
I mean, the people in the room already know, of course, because they have the handout. But yeah, we'll save it as a surprise, maybe it's a little longer.
For those listening to recordings later, materials will all be attached to the link through which you got a recording of this seminar as a PDF. So you will already, no doubt, have checked that out. And so I think really anyone is going to be surprised when the announcement happens, but let's keep it until Levi's turn anyway, just to maintain the fiction of a surprise. Then finally, for the end of the final portion of the day, I will cover some Greek. Now, obviously, Greek was spoken in Anatolia for a very, very long time, over a millennium, over 2 millennia, really. So what Greek to pick, what era, what dialect, what form of Greek? I had originally hoped to share quite a few different forms of the Greek language that did manifest in the history of Anatolia with you, including some medieval Greek and Cappadocian Greek. Due to a series of unexpected complications that have happened just with my personal situation, I haven't been able to quite prepare as much of that material. So what I have done is I've put together an interesting little sort of a sequel to our Phrygian workshop that we did in the first of this series. And I'll be taking us through the Phrygian dialect of the Koine Greek. So something that is not very well taught, or as well, and also is understudied, is the fact that there were dialects of the Koine. They are hard to get a clear picture of because they're generally preserved only in documentary material. But the Phrygian Central Anatolian dialect of the Koine is one that we can get a good sense of through some material that I'll share with us today. And I've structured it to be sort of a bit of a game to sort of help us. We'll all be quite tired. Philology is tiring by that final portion of the day. Now, I will need to run momentarily, unfortunately, due to part of these unexpected personal sort of situations that have been arising lately. But I will be on the Zoom call, so don't think it's an excuse to start talking about me or denigrating Phrygian behind my back. And I'll be intently listening to what Levi and Wyatt has to say. And on that note, I'll hand it over to Wyatt to start guiding us through.
Thank you very much.
Türkçe.
Yes.
Türkçe. Thank you.
Translation. Thank you very much, Gabe, for this excellent introduction, Turkish and excellent presentation. Hi, everyone. Good morning. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Wyatt, and I am an undergraduate student at Macquarie University. I'm studying undergraduate degree of ancient history. And I love learning languages. I have been a part of Palaya for almost a year now. And I have been attending some reading groups running on Fridays, such as Kieran's group, Latin group, Claire's Coptic group, and of course Gabe's ancient Greek group, weird Greek group. And I can tell you that they immensely helped me learning my ancient Greek and Latin studies, which I'm undertaking in Macquarie as of now. Now, what we are going to do today, I will be your humble tutor for some very basic Turkish, or as Gabe said, Türkçe, the Turkish language. We will be covering some modern Turkish language. We will take a peek at the overall larger Turkic language family, which modern Turkish is a part of. And we will also take a look at some other members of this big language family, Turkic language family. We will take a look at the Cuman language, which is another Turkic language, but from a different branch of the Turkic language family. Cuman is from the Kipchak branch of the Turkic language family, whereas modern Turkish is the Oghuz branch of the Turkic language family. I believe that will be very helpful to see at least two separate languages from two separate branches of the same language family in order to better understand what kind of changes happened between those different branches of the same language family in order to have a better understanding of the language family overall. And before we begin, just a disclaimer. Turkish happens to be my native language. That doesn't necessarily mean that I have any expertise in the Turkish grammar or Turkish language overall. I might know what it is or how it is in terms of any grammar rules or any rules overall, but it doesn't necessarily mean that why it is. So that being said, let's begin. All right. So why Turkish? All right, let's go down to the second page. So why on earth are we seeing Turkish now in the workshop? Because Turkish is not really an ancient languages. As Palaya, we teach, we study ancient languages like ancient Greek or Anatolian languages, which we have been covering, starting with Phrygian. But there are very good reasons to learn Turkish if you are interested in learning ancient languages, especially Anatolian languages. Turkey has a very ancient history and harbors countless archaeological sites and historical places. Knowing some Turkish can be a valuable asset for those exploring those sites, whether as an archaeologist or as a historian. And because if you're really interested in Anatolian languages or some ancient languages, such as the Anatolian branches of the Greek, ancient Greek, and knowing some Turkish will be highly encouraged, will be a plus. It might significantly enhance your research in the fieldwork, and you will have a better understanding and better engagement with local communities and experts who are also studying the same subjects in Turkey or Turkey. It will provide deeper insights into the cultural context of the archaeological findings and the perspectives of the local population. And incidentally, many historical records, archaeological reports, and scholarly publications are published in the Turkish language because a lot of findings are being excavated in Anatolia. And so some of those publications are being published in Turkish. So learning this language allows direct access to this material. So I will highly...
I can testify to that as someone who studies Anatolian languages, that yeah. And many of the materials that I would want to look at, you have to go to the Museum of Anatolian Cultures in Ankara or something like that. Like, you simply have to go to Turkey and interact with Turkey and Turkish, yes.
Yeah, that's an awesome point. Now, let's have a look at some facts about Turkish. About time, we have been doing pretty good. Yeah,
I'll keep it up in there. Yeah.
So, the Turkish language is natively spoken in Anatolia and some other countries surrounding Anatolia, as you can see on the map on the right-hand side. It has been spoken by around 84 million people. It is native to Anatolia as well as Thrace, part of Turkey, as well as some neighboring countries. There is a big percentage of Turkish speakers in Bulgaria, and as well as some other Turkish speakers in countries like North Macedonia. There is a minority in Kosovo, Greece. There are some speakers in northern Iraq and Syria. These are, of course, from the heritage of the Ottoman Empire. And the Turkish language belongs to as I said, the Oghuz branch of the larger Turkic language family, which we will see in a bit. And the early forms of Turkish are Old Anatolian Turkish and the Ottoman Turkish. Now, the Ottoman Turkish is kind of separate from the modern Turkish language as well as the Old Anatolian Turkish. The Ottoman Turkish was the official administrative language of the empire, and it was the prestige language spoken by an educated elite minority. So it wasn't spoken by the population, most of the population. It was spoken by a small elite minority and included an extensive amount of loan words especially from Arabic and Persian. It was a sophisticated language. Sometimes it reformed its own unique words by combining different languages, the morphemes from different languages such as Arabic, Persian, and Turkish. I gave an example, darphane, for example. It means mint or coinage factory. It combines the Arabic word darp, which is to strike or the beating, and the Persian word hane, which means to house, which comes from the Indo-European root. And in a unique way, this language combines these words to create their own unique words, which aren't spoken in any other languages. Ottoman Turkish became even more sophisticated over time, especially during the 19th century when the Western ideas and Western technology was improving, coming into the empire. But the Ottoman scholars kind of challenged those Western-based words, which were mostly based on Greco-Latin words, and they started inventing their own contemporary words. I gave an example such as Darül Fünun, which literally means House of Sciences, it was a word introduced for university, but in modern Turkish it's not used. We simply say üniversite to describe university. And as I said, Ottoman Turkish was mostly unintelligible to the common people. The common people continued to use what is called the Vulgar Turkish. It is a direct descendant of the old Anatolian Turkish. This language had much fewer and much less sophisticated structure and much fewer loanwords. And when we come to the Republic of Turkey, the Vulgar Turkish became the basis for the modern Turkish. The modern Turkish, when the Republic was established, the modern Turkish was standardized following a language reform in the early 19th century. Think of it as like, for example, for the German language, we use the Old High German, the High German as the standard of the entire German language, because it is based on the Martin Luther's Bible, or the Italian, like the modern standard Italian, which is based on the Tuscany dialect of that region, because of the Dante's works. And something similar happened to the modern Turkish. It was standardized based on the Istanbul dialect spoken in Istanbul region. And modern Turkish became a standardized language. The language reform was followed by an alphabet reform, during which an important change happened. So up to that time, the Turkish language was written using the Perso-Arabic script, and this script was dropped in favor of a brand new Turkish Latin alphabet, which was introduced in 1928. Can I borrow it for you? So if we go up, you can see this newspaper dated 21st September of 1928. And you can see this is a Turkish newspaper from the transition period. You can see both the Persian Arabic script, and you can also see the new introduced Latin script to introduce people and to teach the audience who know how to read and write, to teach them the new alphabet. And at that time, the people who could read and write in Turkey would be about 3% of the population. And after the introduction of this new alphabet, the literacy rate grew rapidly and reached somewhere over 20 to 25% by 1930s to 1940s. So some facts about the Turkish language. Let's go down. Turkish is an agglutinative language. For those of you who don't know what agglutinative means, it means Turkish language uses some suffixes and affixes called morphemes, and combines those morphemes to create new words. Think of it like building blocks, like using Lego bricks, like building one top of another to create one single word. And this enables Turkish to express some phrases using one single word instead of using multiple words which other languages would use. Such as, for example, English is an analytic language. It doesn't really use much of the suffixes to build new words, but Turkish does, and we are going to see that in a bit during the short grammar lesson. The basic word order of Turkish is SOV. However, the noun cases and Turkish nouns get cases, like some other languages we have been doing in Macquarie University or with Palaya, like Latin or Ancient Greek. Now the nouns get cases, which allows a mostly free word order. And that means that you can do it SVO, and some dialects of Turkish, especially spoken in the Balkans, uses this type of word order as in their daily speech, SVO. But whether you do it SOV or SVO, a native Turkish speaker can understand you perfectly. So that's not an issue.
Before we move on, would you like to explain what you mean by SOV to anyone that's maybe checking out languages?
Absolutely. So SOV, word order meaning subject, object, and verb. And for example, English as an SVO English uses the SVO word order, which means it uses subject first and then the verb and then the object. For example, I love you. I is the subject and love is the verb, which comes second right after the subject. And object being you comes at the end. However, Turkish uses SOV, meaning it puts its verbs usually at the end of the sentences. And Turkish phonology follows a phenomenon called vowel harmony. Vowel harmony is kind of a unique structure. Some other languages who uses agglutinative structure like Korean or Mongolian also uses vowel harmony. In what happens in vowel harmony, the affixes undergo some sound changes when they are added to a root or a corresponding stem. And we are also going to see this phenomenon during a grammar session of this workshop. And finally, Turkish has no grammatical genders, which makes it a bit easier to study Turkish. Now, let's have a look at the Turkish language family. So as you can see on the map, around 200 million people in the world speak a Turkic language. So we have to make a distinction between Turkish language and the Turkic languages. A Turkish language is the specific language which is spoken in mainly in Anatolia, called the Turkish language. And the Turkic languages is the larger branch. Think of it like the German language and the Germanic languages. German languages is the larger language branch, which includes languages like English or Danish. And the German language is a specific language within that group. Same thing happens here. And as you can see on the map, it has been spoken in a very large area in Eurasia. And these languages all descend from a hypothetical Proto-Turkic language, probably spoken somewhere around the vicinity of the Altai Mountains, which is West Mongolia and Eastern Kazakhstan, somewhere in Central Asia. And the Turkic the family is divided into two main branches, the Common Turkic and the Oghuric. And the Oghuric branch includes the now extinct Bulgarian and Khazar languages. The Bulgarian and Khazar languages, those nations play an important role in history of Europe. The Bulgars who created the first Bulgarian Empire and the Khazars. And the Khazars incidentally adopted Judaism, which is a very interesting phenomenon in history. And even possibly some linguists consider the Hunnic language to be a branch of the Turkic language family, but the jury is out for that one. We don't have sufficient evidence to determine whether Hunnic language is in fact indeed a Turkic language, but it has been proposed that it might be a Turkic language. And the Chuvash language, which is spoken by a minority in modern-day Russia, is the sole surviving language from this branch. And the secondary main branch is the Common Turkic. Common Turkic is further divided into separate branches. One of them is Oghuz, which includes Turkish language, as well as Azerbaijani, which is spoken in northwestern Iran and Republic of Azerbaijan. And the Kipchak language, which includes Kazakh, Kyrgyz in Central Asia, the Tatar language in Europe, as well as the extinct Cuman language, which we are going to see in a bit in more detail. Another branch is called the Karluk branch, which includes Uzbek language, again spoken in Central Asia, and Uyghur language, which is spoken, as you can see, in northwestern Chinese region of the Xinjiang part of the People's Republic of China, as well as the Siberian Turkish, which is spoken in Siberia, and the Argu branches, which are my less known as and less smaller branches of the Turkic language family. Now, when you speak about Turkish and Turkic languages, you cannot deny the fact that there is a highly contested linguistic theory called the Altaic language family. I don't know if you have heard of the Altaic language family. This is one of the most infamous, very highly contested linguistic theories in the Academy of Linguistics. What is the Altaic language family? So basically, some proponents of this family, this theory has been around for a long time, actually, since the early 18th century. The proponents of this proposed language family claims that some language families, like Turkic languages, Mongolic languages, Tungusic languages, as well as Koreanic and Japonic languages, which includes the modern Japanese language and the Korean language. The proponents of this language family claims that all these languages are in fact related, and all of them can be traced and back to a hypothetical proto-Altaic language, which was spoken in around the vicinity of the Altai Mountains in Central Asia. And as I mentioned before, the Altai Mountains being in between the Kazakhstan and Mongolia, where the Russia, China, Kazakhstan, and Mongolia kind of touches each other, the modern country borders. That's where Altai Mountains are located. And this language family had a huge popularity, especially in the first and the second half of the 20th century. As of today, the theory has a limited degree of scholarly support. The opponents of the theory, such as Gerald Loeffler and Alexander Wobin, for those of you who are curious about this language family and this theory, can have a look at those people. They explain this relationship between those languages as mostly a Sprachbund, meaning that as languages living side by side for a very long time may end up sharing structure and grammar even if they do not share a common ancestor. So this is a very famous example of how the people who study linguistics determine if any two languages share a common genetic ancestor or not, because some languages do have some common cognates, common words, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they come from a common root or a common genetic root of a ancestral language. It might be a borrowed structure. It's not limited to word borrowing. It might be even borrowing of some grammatical features or some structures of the languages. And interestingly, as late of 2003, the three proponents, Sergei Starotsin, Anna Debo, and Oleg Mudrak from Russia, have attempted to explain the proposed sound correspondences and other structures like lexical and morphological cognates those languages by attempting to reconstruct words in Proto-Altaic, and they indeed published a dictionary. The dictionary is called the Etymological Dictionary of the Altaic Language, and it is available at the Macquarie Library. And for those of you who are curious about the language families, and especially the possibility of the existence of an Altaic language family, they can have a look at that language, that dictionary, and make your own judgment. Let's have a look at one of the languages from the Turkic language family, from the Kipchak branch of the Turkic language family, which is called the Cuman language. The Cumans were a Turkic-speaking nomadic people who established a political entity in the Eurasian steppe in the early 13th century, 1200s. These people belonged to a steppe warrior tradition akin to the Scythians, Huns, Avars, and Pechenegs. So this Pontic steppe has been a hotbed for steppe warrior culture, going back as far as Scythians, which is mentioned by the ancient Greeks, and later Huns came along, and Attila the Hun, and who caused the barbaric invasions of the late Roman Empire, as well as some other steppe warrior cultures such as Avars and Pechenegs and Bulgars as well, the old Bulgars who occupied the same region before them. And the Cumans established a political entity here, which is called the Kipchak-Cuman Confederation. They established ties with their historic neighbors, such as Kingdom of Hungary, the Byzantine Empire, the Crusader state of the Latin Empire in Constantinople after the Fourth Crusade. And many Cuman soldiers served as mercenaries under the Byzantine Empire, and their confederation survived under the Mongol invasion of the region in 1237. Now, the Cumans spoke the Cuman language, which is well attested in some medieval documents. One of those medieval documents is called the Codex Cumanicus, which we are going to have a look at shortly. And as I said, the Cuman language belonged to the Kipchak branch of the Turkic language family. And the Cuman language survived. It is accepted that it survived until 1770, as late as 1770, when the last speaker, Istvan Varo, passed away in Hungary. And some linguists regard the modern Crimean Tatar language as the direct descendant of this Cuman language, but there is a dispute for that issue. And Crimean Tatar language itself is unfortunately, an endangered language as of today. All right. Speaking of Codex Cumanicus, so we as a pariah, we love to see some ancient documents in our reading groups. Although this is not really an ancient document, document is from medieval area, and I thought it will be an interesting aspect to add this document, to have a look at a medieval Turkic language and to compare it with the modern Turkish language spoken in Turkey. So this document is called Codex Cumanicus. Codex Cumanicus, although it's called Codex, it's not really a biblical work, such as other works like Codex Vaticanus, etc. Codex Cumanicus is a medieval linguistic manual, possibly written in the 13th century in Kaffa, being a Genoese trade settlement, which is in modern day Crimean coast, Feodosia, the city of Feodosia in the Crimean coast of the Black Sea. And Kaffa, for those of you who are history nerds, Kaffa is the city where Black Death first spread to Europe. And the Codex Cumanicus was compiled by Italian tradesmen and missionaries who studied in order to study the Cuman language, to conduct trade in the region, and to introduce the local population to Christianity. In 1362, one copy of the Codex Cumanicus was gifted to the Republic of Venice, and it is currently kept in the Library of St. Mark in Venice. This preserved copy is dated 11th of July, 1303. And the manuscript consists of 82 sheets of paper. It is divided into Italian and German sections. The Italian section includes the Latin, Persian, and Cuman dictionary. And you can see one page from the Italian section. And I don't know if you can see, if it is clear, if I can zoom in. That's fine. And on the left-hand side of the document, you can see the Latin word audio and its inflections, its conjunctions. Audio, audis, audit. And the corresponding word on the second column is the Persian words written in Latin. And on the far right-hand side, you can see the Cuman language, Cuman words meaning to hear. Audio means to hear. Whatever word is corresponding to the audio. It's escitirem, actually, written out in Latin alphabet. Escitirem, escitirsen, esciter. And the Italian part also includes a list of Cuman verbs and their conjugations. And the German part, let me go down. And the German part consists of a Cuman German dictionary, some information about the Cuman grammar, which is very useful for the scholars. There are some riddles and tongue twisters, and some Christian religious texts from the Bible, and all in the Cuman language. The two sections overall present about 3,000 lexemes. Codex Cumanicus is a very important historical document to study the development of the Turkic languages, especially languages from the Kipchak group, as well as the study of the early Turkic folklore due to the riddles and the tongue twisters. It is the first and a very important fact. Codex Cumanicus is the very first attestation of a Turkic language written in the Latin alphabet. Although this is not a standardized alphabet as the modern Turkish language uses, as we will see in a bit, there are some inconsistencies within the alphabet. We are going to see that when we have a look at some readings from the Cuman language. Now, let's have a look at some grammar about the Turkish language before we jump into our reading as of today. Now, Turkish has 8 vowels in total, all represented by a single letter in the alphabet. So unlike English, who has much less representation of its vowels, the English language has a rich vowel structure, but it is not really represented in its written forms. But Turkish, because the alphabet itself is invented in a very late period in 1920s, they decided to represent all the vowels within the alphabet. So when this gives you an advantage when learning Turkish, when you learn how to pronounce all the letters, all the vowels, and all the consonants in the language, when you see a new word from the Turkish language which you don't know, you can read it with no problems. Even if you don't know the meaning of the word, you will know how it is read and how it's pronounced, because you know how the letters in the alphabet are pronounced. Now, the 8 vowels in total are, I'm going to pronounce it to you, A, E, I, I, O, Ö, U, and Ü. So in this workshop, we are not going to cover consonants. Vowels are more important than consonants in order to pronounce words. And as you can see, there are only 8 vowels. It's not much. There are no diphthongs in Turkish language. And if you learn all these 8 vowels, you will know all the vowels in the Turkish language. Now, as I mentioned before previously, there is a phenomenon called vowel harmony. As you can see in this chart, it is divided into 4 sections. And you don't need to know much about it as of now. I'll just tell you that when you build up sentences using the suffixes, the sound of the suffix, the vowel of the suffix will follow the stem of whatever word it is connected. It is being connected to. For example, if the stem of the word includes the A sound, as you can see on the right top hand side in the unrounded and back cell of the chart, there are A and U sounds. For example, if the stem includes the sound A, the suffix will include the sound either A or U. It will not include sound from the other cells of this table, such as A or E. And we will see more about this in our reading. And there is another phenomenon called consonant mutation.
Just before we get to the consonant mutations, there's a question in chat. Is there phonemic vowel length in Turkish?
Is there what, sorry?
Phonemic vowel length.
Phonemic vowel length. What do you mean by phonemic vowel? Like lengthening the vowels?
Wait, I do want to take this.
Yeah, like would there be a difference in, like, from, I don't know, like, is there a difference between ben and ben?
Sure, it's a very good question. Now, there are, but it's not written in, there are no representations in the alphabet. If you want to lengthen a sound, you just write it twice. For example, if you want to say A instead of A, you write A twice, A and A. It's very simple. Yeah. So the consonant mutation is another phenomenon for agglutinative languages. When you build up your new words from the existing stems and the suffixes, sometimes the final consonant of the stem changes. You don't need to worry too much about it as of now, but all you need to know is it helps pronouncing some words. And as you can see in the next chart, for example, this chart shows the cases of nouns. As you can see, for example, on the right-hand side, we have the word ekmek, which we will learn what it is in a bit. And when we see the accusative forms, the K becomes what we call the soft G. This is a consonant mutation because ekmeki incidentally is a difficult word to pronounce. So it becomes ekmeyi instead of ekmeki when it takes the stem, which makes the noun accusative. And it doesn't always happen. As you can see in the locative form, it stays K. Because it's not followed by a vowel, ekmekte. Ekmeya in the dative form again changes. As you can see, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cases of Turkish nouns. For those of you who are familiar with ancient Greek and Latin languages, you obviously know what cases are. As of cases, how to use cases in forming the sentences in those languages. In cases as in Turkish work more or less the same way. The accusative case, the dative case. For example, the locative case describes the location of the word. For example, ekmekte means it's a nonsensical word for, but ekmek means bread, as we will see. Ekmekte means in the bread, which makes no sense. But as you can see, its locative form describes the location of the word, the noun. And genitive describes the possession, although it has other roles. Ekmeğin is of the bread. As instrumental means with. I am writing with a pen, or ekmekle means with a bread. And the possessive suffixes, we have it here. Yerim, yerin, yeri. Yerimiz, yeriniz, and yerleri. It's divided into singular and plural and first, second, and third persons. And when a pronoun takes, or a noun takes those suffixes. So Turkish is a proto-Arab language, meaning you don't need to write out the subject in a sentence. You can drop the subject, and you can use suffixes. And in words, for example, you can use suffixes, and you can know what kind of person and what kind of a number are those words. And we are going to see all that in the reading. All right. Now, our reading does not cover all the moods, and we will only have infinitive mood and optative and imperative moods. And optative and imperative moods are kind of merged in the Turkish language. Imperative mood only covers the second person, singular and plural. And as well as the optative mood covers all the first, second, and third person singulars and plurals, and the second person singular and plural versions, as you can see in this table, both interchangeably are used for imperative and optative mood. And in order to make an infinitive mood of any Turkish verb, so for example, we have this verb ayartmak, which means to tempt. And all you need to do is to drop out the final suffix mak from the stem, which is ayart. And when you put mak to the stem ayart, it becomes an infinitive mood. And if you want to change mood, if you want to use the indicative mood, which we are not going to cover today, but if you want to use it in indicative mood or optative mood or another moods, you add another suffix. You drop the suffix mak mek, and you put another suffix accordingly. So in a Turkish dictionary, the word form that you are going to see is the infinitive form, meaning it will use mak or mek. For example, ayartmak, you are going to see that in the dictionary form. And if you want to change it to another mood, you drop mak from the end and you put another suffix accordingly. Now, we are going to see passive voice as well. And just very superficial information I'm going to give it to you. There are 3 ways to make a passive voice in the Turkish language. It all depending on the vowels of the suffixes or the stem words. For example, the word root, the stem word, if it is ending in a vowel, you just put an and. For example, you have istemek, as we have seen, it is an infinitive form, in infinitive mood of the verb. You just squeeze an n between the final suffix and the stem, becomes istenmek. Istemek means to want, and istenmek means to be wanted. And you just squeeze an and between to the infinitive mood to make an passive voice. And if the verb root ending in "l", which is a unique case, you just put an in, un, or un. So for those of you who are wondering why, like, how do we determine un or in or un or un? And we have to go back to the vowel harmony, because as I say, vowel harmony is very important. And it is all about the vowel harmony. Depending on the stem, sounds in the stem, you determine whether you're going to put it in or in or un or ün. For example, olmak becomes olunmak because ol, the stem ends with l. So you drop m, mak, and you put u and n, olunmak, and gelmek becomes gelinmek. As you can see, olunmak has the u sound and gelinmek has the e sound. Again, this has to do with the vowel harmony. And finally, the verb root ending in another consonant other than n or l, or ending in a vowel or an l. If it doesn't end in a vowel, or if it doesn't end in a l, you put il, ul, or ül. Kurtarmak becomes kurtarılmak, and vermek becomes verilmek. This is how you make the passive voice in the Turkish language. And yeah, so let's have a look at our reading. Thank you. Now, how do we do in the time? Great, we still have plenty of time. Now, I'm going to read the this text once, and we are going to unravel the Turkish altogether. And for the reading today, I used Lord's Prayer from the Gospel. If you know what Lord's Prayer is, I'm pretty sure most of you know it. It will be a familiar territory for you guys. And on the left-hand side, we see the Lord's Prayer in modern Turkish. I used the 2009 translation. If you are curious about that translation, I will let me know. I'll send you the link to that version, the Bible translation. And on the right-hand side, I put the Lord's Prayer as it is written in Codex Cumanicus, dated 1303. But this is very interesting. On the left-hand side, we see a Turkic language from an Oghuz branch, a modern Turkish language from 2009. On the other hand, on the right-hand side, we will see another Turkic language from the Kipchak branch, which is spoken in the early 14th century and late 13th century. And for a trained eye, when you look at these two, when you compare these two texts, you can see that they are not all much different from one another, meaning that the Turkic languages divided into branches in a later period of history. So there wasn't much more morphological changes between those languages, and some of the languages, although from different branches, are somehow mutually intelligible. And we are going to see and we are going to compare the differences between these two languages from two different branches of the Turkic language family. Now, I would like to show you something. As I mentioned before, the Cuman language used in Codex Cumanicus, it is written in the Latin alphabet, but the Latin alphabet here is not standardized, and there are some inconsistencies. And for example, I'll show you some inconsistencies. As you can see, the ends, this is the word for amen. And you can see the N at the end is not spelled out. They just use an accented E. And here, the word is bulsun. Again, the end is not written out. But on the second line, you see the exact same verb. Again, bulsun. So make no mistake, this bulsun and this bulsun are the exact same verbs. However, this spelled out, this is written differently. This uses the N and this doesn't use the end. And again, this kökta and this kökta are the same words, make no mistake, but this one uses an accented A at the end. No, hold on, there is another kökta here. Give me a second. Oh, sorry, this is the O. So this O doesn't use any accents and this one uses accents. So as you can see, there are some inconsistencies when they wrote this document. So it's not, the alphabet is not reliable at all. But we are going to have a look at and trying to read it regardless. Now, I'm going to read the whole thing and we are going to unpack it. Now, göklerdeki babamız, adın kutsal kılınsın, egemenliğin gelsin. Gökte olduğu gibi yeryüzünde de senin istediğin olsun. Bugün bize gündelik ekmeğimizi ver. Bize karşı suç işleyenleri bağışladığımız gibi, sen de bizim suçlarımızı bağışla. Ayartılmamıza izin verme. Bizi kötü olandan kurtar. Amin. And I'm going to attempt to read the Cuman language as well, although I have no expertise in this language. I'll try my best. Atamiz kim köktesen, alkışla bulsun senin atın, kelsin senin hanlığın, pulsun senin tilemekin, necik kim kökte alay yerde, kündeki ötmekimizni bize bugün bergil, dağı yazıklarımızna bizge boşalttı kıl, necik biz boşaltırbız bizge yaman etkenlerge, dağı yeknin sınamakina bizni kurmağıl, base barçe yamandan bizni kurtağıl, amen. All right, so this is the Cuman language and this is the modern Turkish language. Now, I'm going to ask you, now we are going to do this together, we still have time. Now, at the end of the handout, there is a vocabulary section and all the vocabulary you need to know about this text is I have included in the vocabulary section. So you don't have anything which is not in the vocabulary section. And have a look at the vocabulary section. I also included the meaning of some suffixes, how they work. And obviously we have seen some grammar before this text. All the grammar you need to know is in the grammar section as well. So take a look at that. And can anyone tell me what is the first independent word in this first word? Göklerdeki. Can anyone tell me that in the chat or in the room?
Sky.
Exactly. So what word would that be?
Sorry.
What word would that be in Turkish?
Oh, in the nouns, listen to, I'm gonna mispronounce it brutally.
That's fine. Don't worry about the pronunciation.
Gök.
Yes, exactly. So the gök would be the first independent word, which means sky, or in this case, the heavens would be the more appropriate translation. And can anyone tell me the second morphological part or second suffix in this word?
Is that a plural of the la?
Exactly, the ler, the suffix which makes the previous word plural. So we have skies or heavens, meaning gökler. So can anyone tell me the next suffix? Which is a bit tricky, but I'm pretty sure you can find it. And I'll give you a hint. Have a look at in the suffix in the grammar section.
Is it this as well to also thing?
That's a very good guess, but not that one. That suffix will be in the grammar section actually. And yeah, I'll give you a hint. It's in the cases.
Instrumental.
Not instrumental. Instrumental will be la or le. And keep in mind that in Turkish, you don't really rely on vowels. As I said, vowels changing depending on the vowel harmony, because the last suffix has an e. So think of a vowel which corresponds with the e sound.
The locative.
Exactly.
Da.
Exactly. The da.
As into a de.
Exactly, which becomes de. Why it becomes de? Because of vowel harmony. So we have gökler de. Gökler is a plural word, which means heavens. And as we all know, nouns can take cases. In this case, it takes the locative case, which becomes gökler de, becomes in the heavens. And can anyone tell me the final suffix? And it is in the vocabulary section.
Key.
Exactly. And can you tell me what what kind of role key plays here? Kira?
So in your grammar section at the back, you've got it singles out an individual example of the possessed or located personal unit,
Exactly.
marking a relative.
Exactly. So and I also give you an example. Yerde is on the ground, and yerdeki is the one on the ground. And göklerdeki is you can translate it as the one in the heavens, or in this case that would be who in the heavens. And ki also plays as a relative pronoun here in this case. It marks the word as a relative clause. The who in the heavens would be göklerdeki. Now, can anyone tell me the next word in the next word? Word within the word. That's how we do it in Turkish. Yeah. Have a look at the vocabulary section.
Baba.
Yes. And what baba means?
And
Perfect. And it has onomatopoeic origin, meaning probably from child's language, baba or mama, and that means. Now we are going to jump into Cumanic very quickly, and actually let's finish this first before we jump into Cuman. And can anyone tell me the next bit of the grammar here, coming after baba, father?
the person plural suffix.
Exactly. First person plural suffix. Meaning, so what does babamız mean in this case? Our father, exactly. So we can translate it our father who is in the heavens. So if you can see, unlike English, our father comes later. So if you read it word for word, it is in heavens in who, father, our. So kind of like that, or our Father who is in the heavens, who in the heavens. Now, let's have a look at the Cuman version. Cuman version says Atamis kim kökte sen. Now, I know it's a bit difficult, but can you find the corresponding word to the babamız in the Cuman version of the line here?
Atamis,
Exactly.
the atta being that's the Hanek.
Is the father, exactly. And for those of you, if anyone heard of the name Atatürk, the first president of Turkey, the name literally translates to father of the Turks, because Ata is actually the Proto-Turkic word for father, and Turkish people used to use that word to represent Ata, and somewhere in the line Baba, this word kind of largely replaced Ata, but the native Turkish speakers can still understand what Ata means. And Atamız, you can see some slight change, but you can see the similarities. Babamız and Atamız, meaning our father. Now, one interesting fact about Cuman uses kim, which corresponds to ki suffix in modern Turkish, but Atamız doesn't use it as a suffix. It uses as a whole word, and kim means actually who, and it kind of does it like English does, our father who, which is very interesting. And can anyone tell me what this is? Kökta. And I'll give you a hint. The first bit would be the kök.
It's kind of related to the Goch.
Exactly,
skies.
exactly, the sky. And it doesn't use the plural, it uses the singular. Kökten just means this in the sky. And ta corresponds to de in, it makes it locative, in the sky. But the modern Turkish, they decided to make it in the heavens. The 2009 translations. And sen is, I actually wrote it in the vocabulary section. Did I write it? Yes, in the vocabulary section. And anyone tell me what this is?
Well, you put it as the second person
Exactly.
singular.
Second person singular pronoun. Now, this one does not writes out the pronoun, because as I said, the pronoun Turkish is a proto-Arab language. This version decided to put the pronoun here. You is talking about the second person singular. Atamız kim köktesin, our father who you are in heaven. Just spell it out that way, but it doesn't emphasize you, just says our father who is in the heavens. Now, we're going to do a bit quicker. Now let's jump into the second part. Adın kutsal kılınsın. Can anyone tell me what this means? Adın. Just combine the the suffix and the word itself. Anyone have a guesswork? Yes. So what would be the first bit of this word? Ad. Yes. Ad means name. And it has a suffix, un suffix.
Genitive case?
Exactly, the genitive case. What does it mean, adın?
Of the name?
Adın, your name.
Your-
Actually, it's not genitive here.
Genitive,
If you look at the possessive suffixes, it also uses the in here. It has in, but as we go back to the fact of the vowel harmony, in can become un,
Yeah.
because adın ends with a. As you can see on the chart, a follows an ı instead of an e. So instead of in, we say adın, your name. And kutsal means holy, is in the vocabulary. Now, this is a bit tricky word, but in order to know what this word is, all the info you need to know is in the grammar section. Yeah, so if you have a look at the grammar section, and can anyone tell me what see, voice is this actually?
Is it passive? Because it ends in the.
Exactly. So it's passive and takes the suffix. Josh, can you tell me what it takes the suffix and doesn't like not n or u? It is in the explanation of the passive voice. Does take the
Something to do with the vowel, like the way it's interacting with the suffix, the other suffix?
Yes. So can you tell me what the root, what the stem of this verb? If you find the verb in the vocabulary section,
Yeah.
and
Kutsava, the one.
so yes, kılmak is the verb, but what's the stem, the root of the verb? And if you remember, these are all the infinitive written out in the infinitive mood,
Right.
and we need to find the stem of the verb.
Oh, is it kilma?
Yes, the kılmak, and in order to find the stem of the verb, what do we need to do? We need to drop something.
Just drop your suffix. So we. So it'd just be kul.
Exactly. So kıl. So kıl, you drop the mak as
Does that make that in?
yes, exactly. The stem, you just find the stem. Kılmak is the infinitive, which is what you will find in a Turkish dictionary. You put the kıl, and kıl ends with an L. And according to the second rule of the passive voice, if the verb root ends in an L, you put an in, un, or ün. And in this case, it has an sound in the stem. If we go back to the vowel harmony, and you put either an a or and you put an so it becomes kılın. And kılınsın is just the second person. So, and this is the optative. And if we have a look at the optative mood table, can anyone tell me what the person and the number of this verb is?
Is it a third singular?
Exactly. So this is the third singular, kılınsın. Adın kutsal kılınsın, meaning, as I said, your name, holy, and kılmak, as we can see, is to make, create, render, or perform. And it just means render be your name, or hallowed be your name in English. Now, we will take a quick look at Cuman here. Now, Cuman uses a different structure and word. Now, this bit is a bit familiar. This is senin atın. Atın is exactly the same, atın and atın here. Adın, instead of adın, it becomes atın. And senin atın, if we have a look at the possessive suffixes, it takes an suffix, which makes it a second person singular. And sen, as we have learned, it is a second person singular pronoun. Senin means your. And one fact about Turkish is the pronouns, the morphology of pronouns does not change. For example, we have the I, the first person singular pronoun in English. If you make it me, the whole morphology changes. You need to memorize a whole different word. Or for our, or for we, you have to know our or us. But when you inflict the pronouns in Turkish, the stem never changes. So in Turkish, the stem never changes. So you just put a suffix. Sen becomes senin, means you is your. And I is, we haven't learned it here, but I is ben. And in order to make I my, or me, when I becomes me, then you just put an E at the end, becomes beni, the suffix stays the same. So it is a kind that makes the learning easier. So senin adın is your name, and it uses this word, it is alkışla. Now, this is a funny thing actually for a modern Turkish speaker, because alkışla in modern Turkish means this. Literally means this. But here, it makes it holy, as I understand, because it corresponds to kutsal. Now, kutsal is not an old Turkic word, as I explained in the grammar section. It is a neologism invented in the early 20th century. It uses a Proto-Turkic stem. Kut means good luck or good fortune. The reason for it is because Turkish used to use a Arabic word for kutsal, for holy, mukaddes, holy. But here Cumanicus does not have an Arabic vocabulary, so it uses this word, alkışla, which apparently changed the meaning in the modern Turkish. But more or less you can understand the whole thing as a modern Turkish speaker. And bulsun actually means olsun. And olmak, I wrote that in the vocabulary section. Olmak is bolmak in Cumanicus, and bolsun is the inflected version, makes optative version of the verb olmak, which means to be. Now, we are going to be quick. Now, egemenliğin gelsin. Can anyone tell me what this word is?
You had sovereign dominant
And comes from which language?
in ancient Greek.
From
Hegemon.
hegemon. Also used in English, hegemony. And we are already 3 lines in, and we have found an ancient Greek word, which is there are lots of Greek words actually in Turkish, and whoever made this translation decided to use this word instead of kingdom, and hegemony just hegemony, and your hegemony come. But in Cumanicus, obviously they don't use a Greek word. They used something else. Can anyone tell me? Okay, this is not in the vocabulary, but can anyone tell me a scholarly guess as what this is, and comes from which word, which noun?
You pronounce it.
Hanlığın. Hanlığın actually. It's an educated guess. So,
The other one was from Greek. Is this one from Latin?
not really. It's actually a Turkic word. And I'll give you a hint. This is, if you look at the final page of the vocabulary section, one of the suffixes is lık, or lük. And it does make the a noun is, it gives like a meaning of ness, hood, like kingdom, scholarship, parenthood, loneliness, kind of makes that meaning. Like I gave an example. Kutsal is holy, kutsallık, if you put lık, it becomes holiness. Baba is father, if you put a lık. It's like a joker suffix in Turkish language. It makes lots of things. It's a very important suffix. Babalık, it becomes a fatherhood or paternity. Now, this is lık actually in human version, lek. They just spell out lek. And rın is, can anyone tell me what the final suffix? It is in the grammar section.
Well, is that the genitive?
Yes, meaning your. Yes. So what is the first word here? Naked stem. Oh. And what does han mean?
I mean, something like kingdom or something.
Yeah.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
all of you know Genghis Khan, or you know the English word Khanate.
Oh, yes.
And Hanlık, as you can see, it might have a meaning of kingdom or statehood or kingdom. Yes. So Hanlık means Khanate actually. This is very different. Now, when they translate Lord's Prayer in human language, they chose this word, Han. This is a native Turkish word because the Turkish people at that time, the Cuman people, they didn't really have a word for king or kingdom. So they chose this word to make it familiar to the Cuman speakers. Hanlık, because they don't have kingdoms, they have Khanates. They are the steppe people. They understand Khanates. So your Khanate come. This literally means the Khanate in the king in the sky, kingdom of the heavens, which is very interesting, kind of poetic if you think about it. Now, we don't have too much time before the break. I'll just quickly, I'll be quick. Gökte olduğu gibi yeryüzünde de senin istediğin olsun. Your will be done on earth. So yeryüzü is a compound word. Consists of yer, which those are in the vocabulary. Yer means the surface, the ground, and yüz is the surface, meaning surface of the ground, and de is the locative case. So because this is a noun, it takes a locative case. Yeryüzünde on the ground. As gibi means as in the sky, and olduğu is a participle. It just comes from olmak again, to be, and so it's a verbal noun. Just as it is in the heaven, your will be done also on earth. And here the Cuman uses a much less sophisticated word. It just use yer instead of yeryüzü, surface of the earth. It is in the modern Turkish, just says the earth, just the ground, yerde, and it is the locative on the ground. Kökta is again in the sky, in the heaven, and it uses a different word. It's in modern Turkish. I didn't write it, but it's tilemek. It means to wish, and your wish again, and it is the noun version of the verb. Your wish, dilemegin, your, the genitive case, your wishes. Bulsun again. These are the same word. Don't worry about the spelling. They are very inconsistent. Your wish will be done. Now, this one and this one is almost the same. Look at this, word for word. Bugün is bugün. Bize is bizge. Gündelik is gündeki. Ekmeğimizi is ötmegimizli. And where is bergil? Exactly the same. They didn't change any words. Like after all those 700 years, we can still have the same, more or less the same structure, which is very impressive. And can anyone tell me what this is? The whole thing, can you? So what's the first word here?
So that shows down, right? Back?
Yeah, so without this is the stem, exactly the stem. So what this stem is? Yes.
Is that the diffuse? And then it's-
No, something interesting happened to this stem. Instead of, because the stem is supposed to end with K, but this one ends with soft G. What happened here?
consonant
Exactly.
because you've got a vowel following.
Exactly. Yes. So, and ekmek imiz. So, this is a stem over stem over stem. So what's happening here is ekmeki becomes ekmekimiz is our bread, and our bread takes an accusative case because of the e at the end. So give us our bread, which takes the accusative case. Our daily is gündelik. Again, we see this lik suffix. Lik suffix is everywhere. This is a very useful suffix. It makes it daily. And this doesn't use lik. That's fine. And yeah. And this is bize karşı suç işleyenlere başladığımız gibi. This is a complicated sentence. Just as we forgive those who commit crimes against us, you also forgive. So this is imperative, bağışla, our crimes. And Cuman uses yazıklarımız, which is actually I didn't know what yazık means as a native Turkish speaker. I don't know if this is the first word ever that I don't know. I don't understand what this means, but it apparently probably means the devil. But I've checked the Wikipedia. I'm not sure about that because the corresponding word was the devil. And yazık, interesting. I'm not too familiar with the Turkish mythology. Sorry about that. If there's a character called yazık in Turkish mythology, corresponds to devil, but I don't know. I actually don't know what this means, but yeah. So, and another interesting thing, we will come to that now. And we are running out of time, so I'll be quick. Don't let us to get tempted. Again, this is a passive. This makes the oof right after the stem, makes the whole thing in the passive voice. Don't let us to get tempted. So this is one interesting fact here. The Turkish uses here gets advantage of a word of an Arabic origin. This is the only Arabic word in the whole passage here. Means the permission, and uses a Turkish verb to modify this Arabic noun, izin vermek, to permit, and don't let us. So me makes it negative. Ver would be the second person imperative, singular. İzin ver, let us. Me makes it a negative connotation. Don't let us to get tempted. And
Is that an infinitive then? That one on the left?
this one?
No, the one on the left.
This one?
Yeah.
Yes. So it starts with the stem ayart and takes the il stem, which makes it passive voice, and ayartılmak means to get tempted, which is infinitive, and mıza, this is actually a participle. Don't let us to get tempted, and participle takes the accusative case, that's a here, because participles can take cases. So ayartılmamıza, the don't let us to get tempted. So yes, it starts as a infinitive, but this is actually a participle. Don't worry about the participles too much. It has other rules which we don't have time to cover here, but this is a participle, and participles take cases, and this takes the accusative case. Awesome. And here, can anyone tell me what this verb is? Not the verb, but the verb, actually.
It's an adjective meaning bad, evil, wicked.
Exactly, Kieran. So this means bad, but some interesting fact about this word. No one knows where it originated from. This is not an Turkic word. Some linguists think this actually comes from Armenian. There is an Armenian word, godi, which means leprous. So this comes from leprosy. And somehow it made its way to Turkish, and the meaning changed. And as we all know, leprosy is a bad thing. And they started using this word for anything that is bad or wicked or evil. But obviously, the Cumans didn't have too much contact with the Armenians, so they use this word, Yaman. And as a native Turkish speaker, I can understand what this word means. Yaman is the Turkic word, the verb, just Turkic origin, means bad. But in Turkish, we actually used it sometimes we use this as a positive connotation. Think of it like terrific in English. Terrific is supposed to be a bad word, but terrific, then the name kind of slightly changed in English, became had a positive connotation. And something similar happened, this word here, in modern Turkish. Yaman becomes a positive thing. Yaman is like favorable, strong or powerful or something like that. But for a Cuman speaker, this means bad or evil or wicked. And we have the same word here, Yaman and Yaman. And we got Amen. Yes, let's finish it here. We are out of time. And do you have any questions? The whole thing?
It seems like a really kind of logical language. You just add bits and pieces, and it's just, yeah, just sort of
Exactly.
calculates itself.
Exactly. As I mentioned, like, for example, languages like English or Indo-European languages in that sense, you have to memorize the morphology of the word changes depending on its cases. As I said, I becomes me, or we becomes our or us. The entire stem changes. But in Turkish, stem never changes. It always and always stays the same. The final consonant might change, as we have covered consonant mutation, but it is not a complicated thing to learn. It's very easy. If you know the rules, all you need to do is just using the building blocks. You have the stem and you put the stem, a suffix, and you add another suffix and another suffix. And as you can see, it all takes 2 words to emphasize this sentence, because in English you have our Father who art in heaven, 6 words. You can express the same word sentences with only 2 words, thanks to the stem structure of the Turkish language. So this is a very logical language in that sense. Yes, that's correct. Yeah. Any other questions?
Anyone online have any questions they would like to put in chat quickly or over the break?
Yeah, I mean, if anyone comes up with any questions during the break, you can ask them when we get back before we move on, of course.
Yeah.
So I think otherwise, that's a good time to call break.
No worries.
Yeah, 15 minutes. Give me enough time to set up, I think.
That was Turkish. Thank you very much for listening.